Welcome to this quantum security and defense presentation detangling QKD versus PQC, market trends, strategic trade-offs, and what comes next. And thank you for being a valued member of our community.
Cierra Choucair is the Strategic Content Director at the Quantum Insider, where she provides coverage of emerging trends in quantum computing and supports strategic communications and related projects across the quantum ecosystem. In addition to editorial and research work, she contributes to newsletter development, client storytelling, and related efforts for leading quantum technology companies. She is the creator of the Daily Qubit, a widely read research digest that translates key quantum papers for practitioners, researchers, and policy leaders. She also serves as an advisor to Girls in Quantum.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. So I'm assuming that a large part of you are quite familiar with QKD and PQC, but I did want to go ahead and provide a brief introduction. Okay, so first off, I wanted to start the presentation with a little bit of history. If we go back to 2007, that was the first real-world QKD deployment. So Geneva used ID Quantique's QKD system for secure transmission of votes over fiber back in 2007. So it's been over a decade since then, and I really wanted to take some time to look at the current state of the market and the developments that have happened since then, as well as why it's relevant. So first and foremost, we have store now, decrypt later. So data being transmitted today can be recorded and decrypted later. It's important to understand that the threat isn't theoretical, and we need to take proactive steps now in order to protect ourselves. There's also growing interest around standardization related to these technologies. So as of earlier this year, we have all new algorithms that have been standardized by NIST, as well as publications to support that transition process. And then there are global initiatives that are funding quantum safe communications across the world, such as QCI in Europe, as well as national quantum initiatives in the US. So this is not just a strategic issue anymore, it's actively being developed. There's actually a memo from the US Office of Management and Budget that warns that cryptoanalytically relevant quantum computers could compromise today's encryption, and we're urging federal agencies to migrate to PQC by 2035. Now, the cost of this migration is not trivial. It's expected to be $7.1 billion over the next 10 years. And if we look at the QCI initiative in more detail, this was launched in 2019 with projects implemented in 2023 and actively developing projects to be launched this year as well as early 2026. So what I really wanted to get across here is that even though we're still a little bit off from having a quantum computer that is capable of breaking encryption, it's important to take away that we can store data now to decrypt later, and that governments are active across the world to implement safety measures, but this will not be a small cost, nor will it be a small investment of time. So we'll look at QKD in detail, we'll look at PQC in detail, and then we'll look at the market analysis as well as trade-offs for both technologies. And I do want to highlight here that these are not one or the other. They can be used in tandem, and often one is preferred over the other, over integrating the second one. But I just want to make sure that we're clear that it's not PQC or QKD. It can be both. It's often recommended to start with PQC. So the very last thing I want to do is look at how to build a quantum safe roadmap by going through a step-by-step framework in order to do so. So first is QKD. So for those who are unfamiliar, I just wanted to do a brief overview. So this is unhackable keys via physics. So this uses quantum particles to share encryption keys, and it has provable eavesdropper detection. So if Eve tries to intercept quantum qubits, the quantum state will change and then alert Alice and Bob that the key was compromised. Now, it's important to take away that QKD transmits keys and not data. So after a key exchange, the actual data is encrypted with classical ciphers. So it's important to note that QKD will be used in tandem with classical infrastructure. And so a brief look at the timeline. So we talked about in 2007, there was the first commercial deployment to secure election votes in Geneva.
You can join the QSecDef community to watch the full version of this and over 80 other lectures on quantum technologies, attend events, receive free training, and more. QSecDef is a users community working to forward quantum secure communications. The community is represented by Quantum Security and Defense that provides supply chain orchestration and consulting services on behalf of our members. Find out more. Google quantumsecuritydefense.com today.